All right, Shalom, Makiam.
Shalom.
And we would like to start off by giving our honor and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Kakudash. Also want to give double honors to our apostles, great millstone, Ruel, and peace and blessings to the house of David the elect. All right, I'm Zahabah to my left. Hey, the Bible was written before Egypt, man. All right. It was all about the Most High, man. All right. And we're just going to get straight to the point, straight to the topic. You get Romans 9 and 17 to start out with. Right. And shalom to you, Akim and Akwathium, who are tuning into this live stream and who will be tuning into this live stream. One of the biggest philosophies of deceit, the theme of Kemet is one of the themes is, well, Egypt was here before the Bible, you know. But guess what? They were inside of the Most High's show. All right, we're going to get that. All right.
Romans chapter 9, verse 17. For the scripture saith unto Pharaoh, even for this same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee.
The Most High told Pharaoh that I raised you up to show my power in thee. So even when Pharaoh was passed, when Pharaoh ascended the throne, and it was passed down to him from his father, all right, a man's goal was of the Most High back then. All right, even when they had wars and they fought to come into power, guess what? The Most High was orchestrating that thing from the beginning, man, for his ultimate purpose. All right.
This is theater.
This is his theater. Okay.
That I might show my power in thee. And that my name might be declared throughout all the earth.
Because and one thing the Most High did, which brothers have been getting on recently with this last Passover, is that the Most High was debunking those false gods, man. The Most High was using those plagues to basically denounce, all right, debunk, destroy those gods of Egypt, because those were the philosophies that was dominating the planet Earth at that time. All right. Just like Christianity dominates the planet Earth now, Roman Catholicism dominates the planet Earth now, which ironically is an extension of the Egyptian, all right, entity, man, the Egyptian religion, so to speak.
Egyptian philosophy, Babylonian
Dagon,
philosophy.
fish god, you know, like I said, Babylonian philosophy. All right, so the world is going to follow the philosophies of the superpower. All right, is that it on that?
Yeah, that was it.
All right, can you get Psalm 75, 78, Babakasha? All right, because Kemet, Jacob be cool or whatever, but they like to push the fact that the Bible was here. I mean, Egypt was here before the Bible. All right, but you don't understand the will of Yahweh Shema Shai. The planet Earth is the Most High's age of empires. All right, go ahead.
Psalm chapter 75, verse 6. For promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south. But the Heavenly Father is the judge. But Yahweh is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another.
He putteth down what? A nation. That's why Exodus 3 and 15 it said the Most High Yahweh is a man of war. All right, how does he do that? He put it up nations and put it down nations through warfare, man. All right. He put it down a kingdom. All right. He put it up a kingdom and throw it down another kingdom through warfare. But ultimately, this is the Most High Game of Thrones. The planet Earth is where the Most High has his age of empires, man. All right.
Exodus 15 and 3. Yahweh is a man of war. Yahweh is his name.
Yahweh is a man of war. Yahweh is his name. All right. We build it on a point. All right. To give shed light on the viewpoint of the Most High, that the earth is the Most High's Game of Thrones, man. All right. And he planted, even in the time of Egypt, even before Egypt, the Most High already had it intended, all right, that he was going to plant a chosen line from the beginning. All right. All right. If you go get Revelations 4 and 11 real quick, and that'll be it with that build up. Right. We were slaves in Egypt. Like America, we were slaves in America, man. But the Most High raised up America. All right.
Revelation chapter 4, verse 11. Thou art worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honor and power. For thou hast created all things. And for thy pleasure they are and were created.
For thy pleasure they are and were created. So we already know that the earth is like a paradise for Yahweh Shema Shai, right? All right, it was started out as the paradise for Adam, all right? But what about the people? You ever ask yourself, what's the purpose of people on the planet Earth? Because you could go on Google and find out what's the purpose of a spider, what's the purpose of an orange. But why would the Most High have different nations on the planet Earth? Why does the Most High have different so-called races on the planet Earth? What's the purpose of human beings being on the planet Earth? Because when you debunk the evolutionary theory that we're all here by way of an explosion, and you adapt the ways of the Most High, no, we were created for a purpose. What was the purpose of different nations being on the planet Earth, man? A storyline had to play out with these nations on the planet Earth. And he gave, because it says time and chance happens to every man. So the Most High gave every nation an opportunity to come in power, man.
Got something.
All right, come on.
Isaiah chapter 45, verse 18. For thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, that created the heavens, power himself that formed the earth and made it. He have established it. He created it not in vain.
The Most High created it not in vain. So there was no evolutionary Big Bang theory and everything. How in the world can everything be here by an explosion? But you go on Wikipedia and everything you Google has a purpose to the planet Earth.
Everything comes from nothing.
Everything comes from nothing. That makes no sense, man. But what does make sense is that everything is here for a reason. And if the oranges and the flowers, you find all the plants are basically, they have a medicinal existence. You find out that the mountains have a purpose, and the bears and the ecosystem all has a purpose for the planet Earth. What's the purpose of human beings being on the planet Earth? And the Most High having different nations and different races and different empires on the planet Earth, because they have a Game of Thrones. There's a storyline by the great Shakespearean, for lack of better words. All right, there's a storyline, there's a script that has to play out on the planet Earth. All right, and we could call it the Game of Thrones or the Age of Empires. And that's what the planet Earth was for the past 6,000 years. It was Yahweh Shema Shai, Age of Empires, and ultimately it was going to be a kingdom for his chosen people.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, and it's too much order to the universe for it to all be by coincidence.
Yep.
You know, just some random event, like you said, a Big Bang explosion.
Yep.
You know, but I'm gonna read this again for you.
Yep.
Isaiah 45 and 18. For thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, that created the heavens, power himself that formed the earth and made it.
Yep.
He have established it. He created it not in vain.
Yep.
He formed it to be inhabited.
Woo! Woo! Hey, well, we can't even say whoa no more, because this goes back to another. But he created it to be inhabited. The Most High created the planet Earth to be inhabited. All right. But then you get deeper into it, you find out that there's an intention behind every age. There's an intention for every empire to come into power, man, because there's a storyline. There's a storyline. That's why the scriptures always says according to his will. All right, there's a storyline that's being played out right now on the planet Earth. And that's why you had the book of Daniel, and the king of Babylon had a vision of 4 different kingdoms coming into power, man. All right, the 4 beasts. All right, but before that even happened, there was already empires prior. And before that, there was already an empire, man. We're going to get to that now.
Yeah.
All right.
Bible shot, can I read down on this for you?
All
right. I'm going to keep reading. I am Yahweh, and there is none else. I have not spoken in secret in a dark place of the earth. I said not unto the seed of Jacob, seek ye me in vain. I, Yahweh, speak righteousness. I declare things that are right. Assemble yourselves and come, draw near together, ye that are escaped of the nations. They have no knowledge that set up the wood of their graven image and pray unto a God that cannot save.
Yeah, and that's Egypt.
Yep.
You were praying. See, everybody wants to be a Kemet. Everybody wants to be an Egyptian, but the Most High set up Egypt to basically denounce all those false gods.
Yep.
Because those false gods couldn't save Egypt. And it's so funny that when you look back at Egypt, you're looking at a conquered civilization. How can you honor a civilization that was conquered?
That's why you call it ruins.
It's ruins. That's like you bigging up a guy that got his ass beat. Like he's still walking around with a black eye. You know?
All right. Let me keep reading for you. Tell ye and bring them near.
Yep.
Man, this go right into it, bro.
Yep.
Tell ye and bring them near.
Talking about the gods.
Yep.
Yep, and that reminds us of our forefather Elijah. Yep. When they was asking him, he was like, "Where are your gods? Maybe they're napping, maybe they're sleeping.
They're on the trip."
Yeah, the Most High was being facetious, man. He was being facetious. They're on the trip, man. You know.
Tell ye and bring them near.
Yep. Tell Caesar. All right. Tell Semiramis, going back to Egypt. Isis.
Yep.
You know.
Tammuz.
You know.
Nimrod.
Yep.
Let them take counsel together. Who have declared this from ancient time? Woo! Who have told it from that time.
Oh man, because going back to our forefather, was it Enoch, the seventh son of Adam? He prophesied from the end. Then what did it say in Isaiah 46? I am the Most High power, declaring the end from the beginning. That was him showing his power. Show me an Egyptian prophecy that came to pass. You know,
even going back to Adam.
Even going back to Adam. You know,
who have told it from that time?
Yep.
Have not I, Yahweh, and there is no power else beside me.
There's no power. There's no other power besides Yahweh Shemai. All right.
A just power and a savior. There is none beside me.
And the Most High was even just with you Canaanites. That's why it says in Wisdom of Solomon that he chastised you little by little because you was defiling his land, but he did it little by little to give you time to repent, man. You nasty Canaanites that everybody wants to be like, man. All right.
And they said with Dagon, that was one of the gods.
Yep.
You know,
which that's real. It really has a demonic energy behind it.
Yeah.
Because that if that wasn't the case, then that was the Aleister Crowley wouldn't have gone into Egypt. You know, the Pope got the Dagon hat.
Yeah.
So, but those guys, those entities, they serve the Most High. They're demons, but they give you strong illusions, right? They give you strong delusions, all right, but they serve you how about Shema Shai.
Yep.
So really, you Jakes, you're really into witchcraft. If you go into these saying, how can you talk being the Illuminati expert, but you turn around and serve the same entities that they worship? You know,
madness.
You know. But we're here to tell you through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai that the Most High was dealing with his people before there was an Egypt.
Yep.
There was already a civilization, a righteous civilization, all right, a kingdom, so to speak, before there was Egypt. All right. As a matter of fact, we could open it up with Deuteronomy 20, 32, and 8. You know, just to build, you know, open that part up, you know.
Kind.
You know,
Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 8.
Yep.
When the Most High divided to the nations.
So when did he divide the nations? We was talking about this earlier. When did he divide the nations? Go ahead.
When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance.
Yep.
When he separated the sons of Adam.
When he separated the sons of Adam. That's why you have the sons of God and the sons of men. You have the sons of the wicked too. But you know, you have the children of the Most High, the children of men, and the children of the wicked.
Yep.
All right. So that's why after the deluge, the Most High gave those other empires times to rule. The Egyptians, the Babylonians, the Assyrians.
Yep.
Those were the times of the children of men. All right, but before that, we were in rulership. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, and like you said, if the Heavenly Father will give systems and classify even you know, various animals and different species, you know, will he not do that with man?
Right.
You know, so he put man in classifications.
Yep.
When he separated the sons of Adam,
Yep.
he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
Yep.
For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lots of his inheritance.
Yeah, but he separated the sons of Adam.
Yep.
Because going back to Second Ezra, the 6th chapter, although we all came from Adam, all right, but he has a chosen lineage out of that. So, but the point is, the Most High was already dealing with a chosen line back then, man. All right, because he already had a will. All right, there was already a blueprint of what was going to play out on the planet Earth. And when we read Genesis, the 1st chapter, all you're reading is the beginning of what was already written. All right, you just seeing that's the beginning of it being unfolded on the planet Earth, man. All right, we're playing out our scripts. All right.
All right, this is Genesis chapter 2. And let's see. I'm gonna start up some.
Yep.
Genesis chapter 2 and verse 15. You know what, Salak? I'm gonna start at verse 7. Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. And Yahweh power formed man of the dust of the ground.
Yep.
And breathed into his nostrils the breath of life.
Yep.
And man became a living soul.
They said, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. Now you have something called an allegory, right? In the book of Genesis, it's filled with allegory. An allegory basically is a composition of two elements. It's like it basically means a hidden word or a veiled word. So this word was really written in code, all right, through a form of symbolism, so to speak. All right, so the Most High didn't literally breathe into Adam oxygen, because if you rewind back to the beginning, it said that the moving creature came out of the waters. So we already came out of the waters. We were already breathing.
They already had life.
We already had life. So what does it mean when it said he breathed into Adam the breath of life? Go ahead.
And breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul.
So that breath of life was really the law, statutes, and commandments. All right, I'm going to look the word up, but really the breath of life was really his intelligence, given to him by way of the law, statutes, and commandments of the Bible, man. All right.
I have a precept for you too.
All right, go ahead.
All right, it's Baruch chapter 4, verse 1. This is the book of the commandments of the Most High, and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life.
Hey, he breathed into Adam that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. All right, the law, statutes, and commandments. All right, and that was his civilization. The law, statutes, and commandments was Adam's that's what made him civil. All right, we went from a brute state or a primitive state, and the Most High breathed into us the law, statutes, and commandments, which gave Adam civilization.
Yeah, because that's intelligence.
That's the real intelligence.
Yeah, that's really what makes you smart. Because now going back to how I said, the Lord, he formed man of the dust of the ground. Now our bodies are from the earth. You know, they are literally from the ground, and man came out, the waters. But also that dust is talking about confusion. We came out of that confusion. Like you said, from that primitive state. You know what I'm saying? And the Lord, like you said, he civilized us with the law, statutes, and commandments. Okay, but I'm gonna finish it off. This is the book of the commandments of the Most High, and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life. But such as leave it shall die. And that was their fall.
Woo.
The fall of the sons of God. We went off, beginning with Adam.
All right. Now here's the I want to get the definition for breath of life. This is Nasama. All right. This is from the Blue Letter Bible. All right. And it says breath of life, spirit of the Most High, imparting life and wisdom. All right. It says that's pretty much the main point. It says life and wisdom. So the Most High breathed into Adam life and wisdom, all right, which ultimately those the law, statutes, and commandments, and that's what gave him civilization, intelligence, all right.
Yep, and along with that, he gave him knowledge of everything, and what we're also getting to is how, beginning with Adam, that was the first kingdom on the earth. And see, you're not told this in your church, and these other philosophies outside the Bible don't tell you this.
Right.
Adam was a king. He had a kingdom. And see, the thing is, people, they don't see evidence of the written word until you come to the time of Moses. Because see, before that, going back to the time of Adam, the laws were given orally. Now the Lord basically, the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, he pretty much put it within the mind of his son. He just put it in his mind or downloaded it in his mind. And basically, you showed that, like you got the movie The Matrix. So he downloaded that information, and men had strong minds back then, so they were able to contain.
That's why it says in a small example of that was the book of Job. All right, when it says when a man is asleep, the Most High, he puts into him according to his will. All right, that's what happened with Adam. I can just get this real quick, brother expound. So Rock 17:1. Yahweh created man of the earth and turned him into it again. He gave them a few days and a short time and power also over the things therein. Going back to Adam. All right. It says he endued them with strength by themselves and made them according to his image. Going back to Genesis. And put the fear of man upon all flesh and gave him dominion over beasts and fowls. And they cussed the worship of animals.
Yeah, man.
All right. Verse 5. They received the use of the 5 operations of Yahweh.
And like the elder said, they cussed the worship of animals because what do Egypt and Babylon teach you?
The worship of animals.
The worship of animals.
Dagon.
Yeah. What Anubis.
Yeah.
You got a guy with a damn dog head, or it's a bunch of bugged out madness, man. A Horus, the head of a damn bird. There you got it, bro.
And in the sixth place, he imparted them understanding. When did the Most High impart in us understanding? When Adam received the breath of life. Yep. Going back to the Blue Letter Bible, it was the wisdom of Yahweh Shema Shai.
And that makes us in his image.
Yep, and that's when we got civilized.
When we got civilized. So Egypt, Kemet, which Kemet goes back to Ham, Ham, they didn't civilize us. Okay? You Jason just still stuck in that madness, man, because more than likely you the same Israelites that was deeply involved in, that spirit of Egypt in the ancient world. You just coming back in your life. But the point is, this is proof with the elders reading. Hey, the Bible was first. Yep. It's just that once again, you don't see the written word until the time of Moses. Yep. But hey, civilization began with us. Yep. Yeah, bro.
And in the seventh speech, an interpreter of the cogitations thereof.
And speech, I was like, you got it.
Hey, they're gonna say the Most High gave him their Hebrew too.
Yep.
That's the speech.
Their language.
Because how did Adam name the animals? He named them in the Hebrew.
Yep.
All right. Yep. The camel goes back to Gamal.
Yep.
Counsel and a tongue and eyes, ears and a heart gave he them to understand. Verse 7. Withal he filled them with the knowledge of understanding and showed them good and evil.
That's it, bro. Now you got it, bro.
Hey, but that goes to show you the King Solomon, which is Yahushua, that was Adam.
It was Adam.
Because going back to Wisdom of Solomon 7, the Most High was pretty much showing him what he showed him during the time of Adam. Where he said, he showed him the virtues of roots, the nature of beasts.
Well, I can get it. I can just get it for you.
Because all of this embodies the breath of life. Because why would the Most High put you on a planet Earth and you not know how to navigate on the planet Earth? Why would he put nations of men on the planet Earth? When you have nations of men, you got to have systems to govern those men. All right?
Got to control their minds.
Government. Because if not, they'll be brute beasts.
Yep.
All right.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, in verse 16. For in his hand are both we and our words, all wisdom also.
Yep.
All wisdom. And knowledge of workmanship.
Yep.
For ye have given me certain knowledge of the things that are, namely to know how the world was made. Woo! And it goes into Genesis, the first chapter.
Because King Solomon said the Most High showed him the beginning and the end of times, right?
Yep. And the operation of the elements. Yep. The beginning, ending, and midst of the times.
Yep.
The alterations of the turning of the sun.
Yep.
And the change of seasons.
Yep.
The circuit of years.
Because you got to know that if you're going to navigate on the planet Earth. So, we didn't have News Channel 12 and you had the weather forecast. So the Most High gave the sons of Adam, all right, the knowledge of, okay, this is direction of the wind. That means a storm is coming. That's the east wind. He gave them signs of the times through so-called astrology. All right.
Understanding the zodiac to
understand what time and season they were in. All right, the Most High already had a system on the planet Earth in which man can orient himself by, man. All right.
The circuit of years and the positions of stars.
Yep.
The natures of living creatures.
Because the Most High is not going to put you on the planet Earth with all these damn animals and you don't know the nature of them. All right. But all those things was imparted in animals. All those things were imparted in Adam. All right.
The natures of living creatures and the furies of wild beasts.
Yep.
The violence of winds and the reasonings of men.
Yep.
The diversities of plants.
So all things have their uses, right? So the Most High you have to have knowledge. Like it says in Genesis, let these fruit be of meat. But you have to be able to identify those different fruit. You have to identify the vegetation, okay?
And Adam is the first son of God. So you think the Heavenly Father not going to give his son knowledge of everything?
Yeah.
Because,
hey, Adam is Yahushua, right?
Yep.
So Yahushua was in the spirit world, right? He didn't need knowledge of these things. But when the Most High put him on the planet Earth in his earthly body, the Most High had to download the information in him to navigate on the planet Earth.
the diversities of plants and the virtues of roots.
The virtues of roots, man. Because you have to have the knowledge to have a civilization, you know?
And all such things as are either secret or manifest, them I know.
Yep.
All right, and that's the point.
All right, come.
And you're just gonna show that.
Yep. Come see. Hey man, see you got something called the and before I click on that, I want to get this real quick.
Okay, go on.
Because I forgot to bring it up. There was a book, so I can pull it up right quick. There was a book called I'm kind of scrolling fast and I don't want to overlook it, but there was a book that went into like the times, the antediluvian time, which anti goes back to before, and diluvian goes back to deluge, which means a severe flood. So there was a book written about the time before the flood, right? And it's saying, because I can't even pull it up, but it's okay. I just mentioned it. It was about the antediluvian era. Now, they have a movie called Atlantis.
Yeah.
They have a fairy tale about Atlantis, but it is a great speculation that Atlantis is really talking about the antediluvian era.
Yeah.
But then we'll go directly into the time of Adam. All right, because as you can see, we had civilization during the time of Adam.
And the book's called Atlantis, the Antediluvian World.
I think that's it, bro. I think that's it. But like I said, I was just looking at it before we started the lesson.
Yeah, I believe it's it.
Okay, Con. But basically, we're gonna go into it now. You know?
Hey, brother. As far as Atlantis, because you asking about it, is it biblical? What they call Atlantis is really the world before the flood.
Yeah.
You know, it's the civilization on Earth that existed before the flood, and that's why what they call Atlantis is it was underwater.
Yeah.
No, it's that highly.
Sorry, you go ahead.
Yeah, it's that highly advanced world. Because they had a lot of technology. And you had a lot of knowledge, but it was false knowledge. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because see, during that time, the sons of God was going off. Which were Israelites back then. They was tripping, and we're gonna pull that up too.
But there's almost like saying, are black people being in the Bible biblical? They didn't call it black people back then.
Yeah.
That's like they didn't call it Atlantis back then.
Right.
That's Esau's word for that world back then.
Yep.
All right.
But that shows that they know how great it was.
Yep.
You got it.
The name of the book. All right. And we're not saying that if you read this book, everything about it is going to be on point with the scriptures, but we're just giving a reference that no, but they're saying that pre-diluvian world, all right, was really the time of Adam.
Yep.
All right.
Hey, don't think too much into it, brother.
Yeah, we're not trying to go that deep, man.
Yeah. Hey, because you got Noah. Stick to the scriptures.
Yeah.
You got Noah and his 3 sons.
Those are the people that survived.
That's who survived. Noah's wife and his sons and their wives.
And we don't go into these type of lessons to go into great depths about those little things that could have possibly. That's not the purpose of these lessons. All right, the purpose of these lessons is prove that the Most High he already had a civilization with the sons of Adam.
Yep.
The sons of the Most High.
Yep.
All right. The name of the book is called Ignatius Danelli, Atlantis, the antediluvian world. So it's straight up saying it. Atlantis, the antediluvian world.
Yep.
And ante means before. So it's basically saying the civilization before the flood.
That's why, hey, you read it. I'm gonna get it for you real quick.
Oh. I know it's gonna show up all crazy. I know it's gonna show up all crazy on the screen, or it might show up backwards or whatever. But yeah, it's Atlantis, the antediluvian world by Ignatius Danelli.
Got something for you?
Okay, come on.
2 Peter chapter 2, verse 5. And spare not the old world.
Yep, the old world. The old world. And contrary to popular belief, nope, there weren't basic primitive TP people.
Nah.
That's what we're going into, man. There was a civilization like there's a civilization now. All right.
And what made them civilized, although during that time people were in rebellion, they were idolaters, for the most part, they weren't keeping laws, statutes, and commandments, which is why the flood came, but they still retained some of that old way, going back to Adam.
Going back to Adam.
And they still had the language.
Yep. And that's why you had the account with of the Tower of Babel and the confusion of language. So the whole world was under one tongue before the confusion. What was that one tongue?
Yep.
You know?
That Hebrew. And then a point Elder Apostle Tahar made basically everyone is still speaking Hebrew, just like different forms of it. But the thing is, the meanings of words changed. You know. But yeah, everyone's speaking a corrupted or a broken form of Hebrew, but just the meanings of words.
It's heavy because you trace everything back now to the Greek, but then when you trace the Greek back, you go right back.
You go back to the Hebrew.
Go back to the Hebrew.
All right, read this for you again. 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 5. And spare not the old world, but save Noah, the 8th person.
So to answer your question, if anybody from Atlantis survived, well, if Atlantis is the world before the flood, then you had 8 people survive. You know?
A preacher or prophet of righteousness bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly.
And now he was a microcosm of the prophets that come before the destruction of America. He was a small example. Noah was a small example of the apostles to Hars and us before this other great flood, a flood of destruction, coming to America, man.
Flood of fire.
And this truth is that spiritual art. And those 8 souls represent the house of Israel, the elect, and their families, man. You know? So we can start out with those articles. You can get ready.
All
right. And now we're going to get into a book that really expounds on the historical, biblical references of what was going on in the scriptures. All right. And this is a reference from the book. All right. It's called The Illustration of Holy Scriptures. All right. Manners, customs, rites, traditions, forms of speech, antiquities, climate, and works of art and literature of the Eastern nations. All right. Also, it's by Reverend George Bush. Well, it was edited by George W. Bush, written by J.B. Lippincott and Company, 1865. So this book was written in 1865, and it's heavy. That was the year slavery ended. All right. But it's going into the time of Adam. All right. So now we're going to go into I think we're going to go to the breath of life with Adam. All right, it says, I'm just going to read it. We have no direct means of positive knowledge as to what relation the primitive language of the earth may have had with the existing tongues. But in the absence of such evidence, we may form such conjectures on the subject which are certainly marked with the highest probability. In the first place, we must consider that the numbers of the antediluvian human race and their consequent divisions into nations, going back to Deuteronomy 32, are divided into nations. In the first place, we must consider that the number of the antediluvian human race and their consequent divisions into nations could not have been nearly so great as in the present day, from the comparatively short period they had existed, and from the comparatively unrefined condition, unrefined condition natural to a primitive race of beings, of whom the gift of reason was obviously bestowed by the Creator for the purpose of exertion and of gradual cultivation, improvement. We must not here suppose, however, with too many advocates of an erring philosophy, and this is the erring philosophy that we all were taught wrong on, that man was at first naturally savage, or in the state we now find the wild and uncultivated natives and savage countries, because this was written in 1865 when Gad was in America and Ham was in Africa, but they were primitive. All right. Or that religion and knowledge were in the first days in the debased condition we now too often find them in the remote corners of the earth. All right. It says further on, the savage state is not natural to man, but on the contrary, is brought on by erring from the true path of knowledge, in which both Adam and Noah must have brought up their first descendants, in which in both instances was communicated in direct manner from the unerring sources of every good which mankind now enjoys.
Is going back to a point you had made before, just a lamb back. Now man is in that primitive state. In the beginning, everyone was civilized. Like the the book is making the point going back to Adam. So basically, people on Earth have devolved.
They're devolved. Because they're farther away from the Most High. They're going back to the Gadites in America before Columbus. All right, either the Northern Kingdom. You have the movie Apocalypto. That was the result of the Most High's chosen people erring from the law, statutes, and commandments.
Because Jay wasn't like that. Northern Kingdom wasn't like that during the time of King Solomon.
They weren't, and we didn't leave Assyria like that.
Nope.
So what happened? Just like the Book of Judges, after generation, we deviate from the Most High. The first generation gets saved by the Most High, then we repent and we were humble. But the descendants afterwards, they deviate from the area from the source, which is Yahweh Shema Shai, by disobeying the law, statutes, and commandments. and that in return creates a state of primitive beings. Like Jake in the hood or Jake in America is in a primitive state, but the deepest result of that is those centralized areas where Jake is living, because they're in a primitive state, not keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments. So they're like animals. Now, that's why it says in Jude they're like brute beasts, or Jake, like in Jeremiah, was it Isaiah? Jake is like a wild bull in the net.
Yeah, book of Isaiah.
Yep. All right, so yeah, you can bring it out whenever you're ready, bro.
Con. Was they on this right here?
Well, I'll finish it off.
Okay, con.
Or if you want to read it, then I finish it off.
Yeah. I was just getting that for you in Judges. You had brought it up.
Okay, con.
All right. This in the book of Judges. We go back to this.
See, idolatry leads into a primitive state. You know.
Con.
Yep.
The book of Judges, chapter 2, and in verse 6, starting at verse 6. And when Joshua had let the people go, and the children of Israel went every man into his inheritance to possess the land, and the people served Yahweh all the days of Joshua, and all the days of the elders that outlived Joshua, who had seen all the great works of Yahweh that he did for Israel. And Joshua the son of Nun and the servant of Yahweh died, being 110 years old. And they buried him in the border of his inheritance in Timnath Heres, and the mount of Ephraim on the north side of Gaash. And also all that generation were gathered unto their fathers.
Yep.
And there arose another generation after them, which knew not Yahweh, nor yet the works which he had done for Israel.
Yep.
So like you said, going back to the Israelites that was in America,
yep,
or in the Americas before Cristobal Colon landed shore to the Americas, Jake was in that primitive state because they didn't remember how, when the Northern Kingdom got over here to the Americas, how they were keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. It says in 2 Kings 13, they looked for a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might there keep their statutes, but they didn't keep in their own land.
Yep.
But so many generations, on down the line,
they devolved.
And
just to get another example, this is in the New Testament, it's called living after the flesh. All right, which basically you're going after your own instincts as opposed to the law, statutes, and commandments. And it goes back to the Greek. It says
Strong's G 4561 Sardix.
And that's where we get the word like sardonyx. Sardis goes back to carnal. Like this, we got Cornelian.
Yep.
Yeah. That's because carnelian is sardonyx or sardius in the Bible, and sardis goes back to your skin.
Yeah, because carnelian goes back to the Latin word carne, which means flesh.
Yep, flesh. So here's the key definition. I'm just gonna skip to the point for the word flesh. It says the sensuous nature of man, the animal nature. So when you deviate, when you turn from the law, statutes, and commandments, you go after an animal-like nature.
Yep, and it happened during the time period right before the flood came, and it's happening right now.
Oh, here's the last definition. It's a lamb back. Last definition. It says the flesh denotes mere human nature, the earthly nature of man, apart from divine influence.
Yep.
And what's the divine influence? The laws, statutes, and commandments that governs your nature.
The breath of life.
The breath of life. Because it says he formed Adam of the dust of the ground. So we were in a primitive nature before that.
Yep.
He breathed into us the breath of life, the laws, statutes, and commandments. That's that divine influence that civilized us during the time of Adam. All right. And therefore prone to sin and opposed to the Most High. So it's all connected.
Yeah. And see what confuses a lot of people. When you read the scriptures, the way the Lord has everything written, it makes it seem as if the Bible just came so many, thousands of years later, But you got to remember the Lord works in a mystery, because when you look at the other nations, it seems like they already had different systems and like you said, empires established. But of course, the Lord, He will make it to where the truth, it would be their last stand, so to speak. Hey, because even with Israel, now originally we were the sons of God, going back to Adam. But see, when He established that divine lineage, when they finally got to us being the 12 tribes, we were the last of all people, man.
Because we were birthed out of a superpower.
Yep.
A pre-existing superpower. As a matter of fact, our forefather Abraham, he came from a pre-existing superpower, Babylon.
Yep.
So they were, you're right, they already existed, but before them, there was already our kingdom.
Yep.
That's why he said in Ezra, he made the earth for Adam. All right. Man. That's how you have westernization now. After Esau, you had so-called easternization during the time of Adam.
Yep. And dealing with these heathens, them and their guys and their philosophies, just more proof that, like you said, the earth was given unto Adam, and going back to the Lord giving Adam basically the knowledge of everything. Of course, the other nations, they will retain some truths, because every nation, outside of Israel, they all got a creation story.
Yep.
They all got a story of the flood. Yep. So dealing with Egypt, dealing with Babylon, they got that. But see, where's the divine truth? Who originally had the knowledge of all these things, yep. Man. And we had read it in Wisdom of Solomon, and they were speaking about how the Lord dealt with Solomon, but also Solomon is Adam, because Solomon is also Yahweh Shai. It says how the Lord showed him the beginning and ending and midst of the times. So he knew about all this, how the flood would come, and eventually the time we're living in right now. But I'm gonna go back to this. You want to read some more?
Yeah, I'm gonna finish it off. All right. It says, the savage state is not natural to man, but on the contrary, is brought on by erring from the true path of knowledge, in which both Adam and Noah must have brought upon their first descendants, in which in both instances was communicated in direct manner from the unerring source of every good which mankind now enjoys. And considering the progressive stages of society, we are too apt to content ourselves with merely looking back from our own times into the darker ages of barbarism, and thus to form our ideas on the false supposition that the primitive nature of man is one of perfect ignorance, and such as we now find among the savages of Africa or America. Whereas if we trace the progress of society in its proper and natural course by descending from the creation and from the delusion instead of ascending from our own times, we shall find that the primitive state of mankind, even immediately after the creation, was one of intelligence and understanding, if not in arts and science, at least on the leading point of religion, which is of all others that in which the savage falls most short of the civilized man. It pleased his creator to bestow upon primitive man a full and perfect conception of the relation in which he stood towards the supreme being. That's pretty much the key point.
Yeah. So showing basically we had knowledge in the beginning. It didn't begin with Egypt.
Yep.
And before Egypt, you had Babylon,
yep.
what they call Sumeria. It did not begin with Sumeria,
yep.
And it didn't begin with Kemet or Ham. Yep. It began with Israel when we were labeled as the sons of God, beginning with Adam.
And and those other empires coming into power was a result of the fall of Adam. You lost your rulership.
Yep.
And if you want to get to the passage from the book,
I got you.
Yep.
Let's have it says that in which the savage falls.
Yep.
Falls most short of the civilized man.
Because you ever watched the documentary Mundo Magic?
Yeah, we saw it together.
Yeah, we saw it together, and they showed Ham out there in Africa, but they showed the Northern Kingdom over here in Central South America.
Yep.
And guess what? One thing they had in common: they had no laws, statutes, and commandments.
Yep.
They did not follow the laws, statutes, and commandments. Even America is so-called civilized in its prime, but what happened? Their foundation was what? The laws of the Bible.
Yeah.
You couldn't be a homosexual. You couldn't commit adultery. All right. So they follow key laws of the Bible, which made them a pillar of power, man. All right. So like that's a very heavy point. Like you highlighted that the reason why these are savages walking on the planet Earth, because they don't have the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Shema Shai. Even books like Islam and things of that nature it's an offspring of the Bible. Mm-hmm. It's an offspring of our laws. All right. All right.
Yeah, we have a book here. See, well, you can show it to brothers. All right. This book is called The Quest Study Bible. The Quest Study Bible, which has a lot of good information in it. All right. And then we bring it out through the Spirit. Okay, and this is in the 6th chapter, where it's speaking about the time of Noah, right before the flood. All right, so I'm gonna read this for you.
Yep.
Now it says, "Who were the sons of God?" All right, who were the sons of God? Genesis chapter 6, verse 2. Some suggest they were supernatural beings, such as angels. Now say see NIV, the New International Version, text note at Job 1:6. It's not talking about that though.
Yeah, and another way to prove it, because it says they also scriptures go to how they don't deal with women. They don't have sex.
Yeah, how Shah said that.
Yep. So that debunks that, like you said.
All right, it says others say they were godly men descended from Seth.
Yep. Now the proof on that's accurate. We just read in that article. Also, it's the scriptures, but we just read in the article that the Most High passed down his divine laws from Adam to Noah.
Yep.
So those are the sons of Seth, and this will make you the sons of the Most High because you retain those divine laws from Adam to Noah.
That's still that divine lineage, man.
The divine lineage. All right. Others. Yep.
All right. Now it says, others say they were godly men descended from Seth, who married sinful women descended from Cain.
Right. And that goes into it because they slept. The reason why these women were so-called sinful, these are women of other nations.
Yeah.
All right. But it was a different identification. They weren't called, the men weren't called Israelites. They were called sons of the Most High. Now, technically, you were, that's an Israelite.
Yeah.
Israelite, Yashar Allah, he prince of the power. So but going back to Deuteronomy 32:8, we separated the sons of Adam to those different classifications and gave them different lands, man.
And back then, the other nations, they weren't labeled as heathens.
Right.
They were called beasts, just children of men.
Yep.
Sons of men.
Yep. That's right.
Now it says a better interpretation may be that they were human rulers.
Yep.
Who emerged as heads of city-states in the ancient Middle East.
This would surpass and predate the Egyptian Empire.
That's right.
And the Babylonian Empire.
That's right, bro.
Because the book of Genesis, the 1st, 2nd chapter, and even going into the 6th chapter, all right, that's all allegorical. All right, a lot of it is allegorical. So really, it was a whole superpower before Egypt, before Babylon. All right, can you read that again? A better interpretation.
A better interpretation may be that they were human rulers who emerged as heads of city-states in the ancient Middle East and flaunted their power by having large harems.
Now, you know what a harem is? A harem is basically a large collection of concubines. All right. If you have a harem, that means if you're a king, they had it during what they call it, one of those Middle East, the Dark Ages, whatever. But they basically had harems of concubines.
I know the Moors.
The Moors had it. All right, but that doesn't remind you of Jake. Now, what does Jake say on the left-hand side without having the knowledge of the Most High? I got hoes.
Yep.
All right, and Jake becomes a famous
foreign women. And Jake always speaks on
foreign women. Foreign, because the harems consisted of the concubines is the foreign women. But Jake always talking about foreign women, and when they get money, you don't see Jake in his rap videos with one woman. His rap videos is dozens of women.
Jake flex.
He flexing power. Who did they get that? That was us back then.
Sons of God.
See the Kemet Jake wants you to think that we weren't always Negroes in America. We had our own sovereign power, but what they were wrong is they identified themselves as the sons of Ham. That was Ham's sovereign power during the time of Egypt. Our sovereign power started with the Negroes down to the so-called Hispanics. All right, that sovereign power was during the time of Adam.
Yep.
Which you call the antediluvian world, man.
In the Garden of Paradise.
The Garden of Paradise.
Which is basically, it was the whole earth, but in particular in the Middle East.
The Middle East. Because even the Mediterranean area, the Middle Terrain, all right, that doesn't look like how it looked back then.
Yep.
All right, that's why I found out like watermelon, different type of garlics, watermelon in America, that was actually rooted in the Middle East. Its origin was in the Middle East because that area wasn't a big desert back then. It was very plush back then, man, because that was the most centralized area, man. The Palestine, all right, that's where it was popping at, man. All right.
See if we can pull up something else for you, brothers. Now, you want me to read it again, or?
No, that's good on that.
Okay. But you had some you want me to get for you.
The other passage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me get that.
See if it still fits. If it still fits, we can get it. Let's see. You know what? I don't think we have to, because we pretty much covered the breath of life.
You don't want to deal with it?
Yeah, I don't think we have to deal with it. Okay, we'll get that key point right there.
Okay, let me see. Pull it up. Okay, yeah, we there.
Okay.
You want where you want to start at?
Can you
now? And it's a different book, right?
It's the same book, it's a
book.
different passage.
Okay.
Illustrations of the Holy Bible, and you can just can you go one more? Let me just get the beginning of it. All right. It says this is from Illustration of the Holy Scriptures. It says, when the minute and extensive acquaintance with the natural character and temper of the numerous animals to which our first father gave names in paradise. This is talking about the time of Genesis, when Adam named the animals, but what language in which he named them from, all right, which he certainly had not time to acquire by his own industry, meaning that he didn't have time to come up with a language to name the animals, all right, and in which he have no reason to believe he owed to intuition is considered. We must admit that the language in which he conserved was not his own contrivance, but the immediate gift of heaven, which it says Jehovah breathed into Adam and Eve the breath of life. It says when Jehovah breathed into Adam and Eve the breath of life, he inspired them in the same moment with the knowledge of the tongue in which they were to express their thoughts. And that goes right into Sirach 17. And I read Sirach 17 again, because it's part of the civilization. You can't have civilization without language. All right. So I go back to Sirach 17:5. Yep. They received the use of the 5 operations of Yahweh, and in the 6th place he imparted them understanding, and in the 7th speech.
Yep.
So what was the speech that the Most High imparted into Adam and Eve? Hebrew language, the Hebrew tongue.
Yep, that pure language, man.
Yep.
You know, now they have Jehovah. We know the name is Yahweh.
Yep.
All right. But see, hey, man, basically, the Lord is so cold because, see, the Lord, he's a perfect balance. What you see what the Lord did with, Adam, with Adam and the sons of God, which Adam, he's the first son of God. But then you have the other sons of God. The way the Lord dealt with us, hey, look how the Lord is dealing with Esau. You read Psalms 49:11. It tells you how they called their lands after their own names. Mm-hmm. Basically, when Esau came into power, as the Greeks, they renamed everything. They renamed all the animals. When you look at the animal kingdom, really everything it goes back to either a Greek or a Latin name.
And just an example of that, the movie Alexander Revisited. Yep. They were over there in India, and I believe they saw a monkey that was like monkey. They named it monkey. Yeah. And going back like the word Ethiopian, it goes back to Aethiopes, which means burnt face. But that was the Idumean perception of the sons of Cush. But like you said, when they came into power, they re-illustrated the world. Hey,
well, y'all brought it out on the line yesterday. Egypt. Yep. Egypt is a goddamn Greek word.
It's a Greek word
for you, Jakes, man. Yep. Hey, because I had looked it up. Was it? I believe they had different meanings, but the meaning they gave me, it said land of the Copts. Yep. But Egyptos, that's a goddamn Greek word, man.
Yep. The language we speak, our names. Yep. When every kingdom comes into power, they really create a new reality on the planet Earth.
Yep.
You're really living the world through their reality.
And they're calling themselves civilizing you, basically.
Yep. Yep.
And look at us. We got Edomite names and shit.
Yep.
So
like, because now it's the heathen in power. That's why you eat caviar, like eggs. It's like a fancy.
Yeah.
This is a heathen in power. You eat a steak that's undone. That's a heathen in power.
Escargot.
Escargot. Yeah, that's the word. Escargot. Okay, that's a heathen in power. That's why it's popular to be a homosexual. It's popular to be basically henpecked by a woman. Happy wife, happy life. All right, the woman is on a pedestal because that's them uplifting their gods. But in our paradigm, during the time of Adam, it was a whole different paradigm, a whole different reality playing out on the planet Earth.
Man, here it is. We got these royal laws, and Jake want to live like the heathen, like you said. The escargot with the snails, right?
Yep, snails.
And I want to say caviar is fish eggs. And a brother had brought an article out And that's why, hey, our laws are so important because they civilize you. Brother brought out an article saying how lobster, I want to say catfish, but it was lobster. It said lobster and shrimp. It went back to food that prisoners ate.
Wow.
You know, so you living like a damn slave, man.
Yep. And then, you know, there's a scripture in Ezekiel that said that you became like the nations in which I sent to you for punishment. So they got institutionalized in prison.
Yep.
You've been institutionalized in this prison. That's why they have the saying, when in Rome, do what the Romans do. Because you got the average woman, right? She's not with polygamy, right? But so many Israelite women are with threesomes. Man, you'll realize it's not that they're so clean that they can't share a man. They just against the Hebrew way. You know?
Was that post brother that showed yesterday, Eve on social media saying she got 2 boyfriends.
Yep.
And they gang banging that chick, man.
Yep.
That's a fucking shame. And we grew up around chicks that was doing it. Like, bro,
flippers.
They got flipped. Yep. We got to get the fuck out of here, man.
But all Esau did was repackage lowlifes. He repackaged and remarketed being a lowlife because he's a lowlife.
He's a lowlife,
and he bigs up his way of living. So Eve can be a whore, but you don't have to call her a whore. She can just say, "I'm single." You know, I ain't got a ring on my hand.
That's the way of Esau.
Yep. Yeah, Jacob nigga. Jacob's a degenerate nigga. But who's the most elevated amongst our nation? A nigga.
A nigga.
A nigga. 21 Savage. These Memphis niggas. These Atlanta niggas. These Chicago niggas. A damn athlete. You know. What can you learn? How can you train your child to model an athlete? Like what? How is he gonna raise his family off being an athlete, man? What can we learn from LeBron James as far as morals? Because what you don't learn in America is civilization starts with morals, and morals come from your so-called religion, which for us is the laws, statutes, and commandments.
Yep.
That's why in the West, I'm sorry for rambling. That's why in the West, they're like a zombie.
Yep.
They're like an animal. And they'll go to college and they'll know a bunch of stuff in theory, but the way they live, it's like a damn animal, you know?
Yeah, I'm gonna get a scripture for you, and I want to pull up what Ayasha had sent us. All right, this is the book of Baruch. All right, Baruch chapter 2. Baruch chapter 2 and verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves.
So if we shall remember themselves, what were we doing before we remembered ourselves? You know, we were living like the captors. You know, and that's talking about America, man. That's a future prophecy talking about now. We are remembering ourselves, which is what has us on the highways and the byways. All right.
And shall know that I am Yahweh, their power, for I will give them in heart and ears to hear.
Yep.
And they shall praise me in the land and they shall praise me in the land of their captivity, and think upon my name, and return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds, for they shall remember the way of their fathers, which sin before the Lord.
Yep. And keep in mind, sin is a transgression of the law. But we didn't come together and say, you know what? Let's stop keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. No, we were captivated, or we were seduced by the way of the heathen. Just how let's say you're a good boy, right? You're a good guy in school. You know, you got a decent family. You went to school and played about the books, right? But when you went home and watched BET, you was watching the glory of basically the heathen. You know, that was like you was watching Canaanites or Hamites, but they were being glorified. So you're popular niggas, because most popular Israelites are sinners. So that's how our forefathers were in the ancient world. Watching the heathen was probably like watching BET.
Hey, what Yahweh said, that which is highly esteemed among men is abomination.
It's an abomination.
The sight of the Most High. The same thing going back to the time of Adam.
Yep.
You know, because pretty much Adam had an empire.
Yep.
You know, but you know, when the serpent introduced that philosophy or that new way, you know, something different, an alternative lifestyle to what was given, you know, to him. When he introduced that to Eve and Eve brought it to Adam, it sounded good because it was different. Because they only knew righteousness back then, man.
But you know what? You could liken that to the Middle East now. But you know, we're not.
So yeah.
It's like people from the Middle East watching Western media and being enticed.
Yep.
And let's say Eve was in the Middle East right now, and she'll watch like Housewives of Atlanta. I mean, those women ain't doing shit. They living like queens or royalty. You know, that's like the Middle East being influenced by the Western world right now. That's how Adam was when it came to Eve. All right, the ways of the serpent, that was basically pre-westernization. You know.
But yeah, I got something for you dealing with how Adam named everything, and then I was gonna go to Ezekiel for you.
Okay, come.
All right, Genesis chapter 2 and verse 19. And out of the ground, Yahweh power formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them.
Mm-hmm.
And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof.
Now going back to the passage in the book, in order for Adam to name those animals, he had to name them with the language. So basically, the fact that he had already had a language to name them, a part of that breath of life, one of the things that came with the breath of life was the Hebrew language, along with the law, statutes, and commandments, all right, the knowledge of wisdom, all right, how to maneuver on this planet Earth, all right, because the Most High didn't create the planet Earth, all right, without a book manual on how to orient yourself on the planet Earth. When you walk into a business, if you inherit someone's business, they already have a system that you walk into in which you run that business, man.
Yep.
You know?
Hey, and dealing with Eve, now says how, you know, her name was called Eve, which in the Hebrew is Hawa, which means living. It says she was the mother of all living. Well, who are the living? The sons of God.
Yep.
Now, basically, you know, what a woman would do, you know, our women, their original purpose, you know, there was a helpmeet. You know, what it says that, you know, it was basically, you know, a man's assistant. They would support us. But also, what would they do? They would teach our children. So they would keep the knowledge going.
Mm-hmm.
You know, teach the sons and the daughters the law, statutes, and commandments. You know, and see, the thing is, in the time of Moses, this was all reiterated.
Mm-hmm.
It was reconfirmed,
and it was cemented on those tablets.
It was cemented. That's it, bro.
Yeah.
Yep. And it says how we would always teach this to our children. You know,
and it's heavy because cemented. I think it goes back to cement. You know, like those stones,
man.
So it was like it was inscribed, you know, through the chariot, man.
Yeah, because that's making it permanent.
Yep.
You know,
now it's official.
It's official. You forgot this way. Yep. You was handing it down orally, and once again, it's more proof. It was before Egypt.
Yep.
You know, but you didn't retain it, so now I'm bringing it back to you. I'm giving it back to you.
And then, you know, like the elder Apostle Bar said, like that represented those stony hearts that we had too.
Yeah, it did.
You know?
It did. And that's why we had a new covenant, because now it's going to be put within us.
Yep.
You know, now the sons of God are going to fully contain it, man. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, that's a beautiful scripture. Proverbs 12:26.
Yeah, I'll put it up.
You know, the righteous is more excellent than his neighbor, but the way of the wicked seduceth them. Hey, because like even now we keep the law, statutes, and commandments, but the way of the West is seductive, man. Well, like I said, when you was in the world, I wasn't like an innately bad child. You know, I was in the streets per se. But you watch Jeezy and T.I. and Gucci, that's being puppeteered by Esau, the wicked. So that's the way of the wicked really seducing you.
Yeah, that's that peer pressure.
That peer pressure, man.
Yeah.
It's cool to be a nigga.
Yeah. That, like you said, that Western influence.
In nigga culture, if you're not a nigga, it's like you a square. They call it that. You know?
And you know that, hey, you Jace this all into Kemet and, you know, Egyptology and all these different wayward doctrines. Hey, basically, you know, you want to fit in, man.
Yep.
That's why you into it. You see all these Jaces, you know, they into Pan-Africanism and all that. Hey, and going back to when we were actually slaves in Egypt, that was the end thing. Because like you said, they were in power.
Yep.
So, of course, you're going to want to cleave to that. You know, that's why everybody's gravitating towards that.
Well, we're slaves in America, and Jay goes to college and get into Greek fraternities. Because this the new Egypt, but it's the way of the Greek now, which Greek goes back to the Egypt way. But Jake is in America. We're slaves in America. Well, Jay became Masons.
Yep.
Jay got into these fraternities. You know,
they did the same thing during the Maccabean period.
Yep, that's right. That's what, and Jake loved it. Jake loved going to those gyms and those coliseums, man.
They desired the glory of the Grecians best of all.
Yep.
Roughly paraphrasing.
And the way of the wicked seduceth them.
And that's that serpent.
Yep.
The serpent did to Adam.
Yep.
Hey, well, I'm gonna get that for you, bro. And then we'll pull up what the brother had got.
God.
All right, let's get Ezekiel. Read this for the elder. All right. Ezekiel chapter 31. Now keep in mind when you read this, it's speaking about the Assyrian. You had the Assyrian Empire, you know, so it's different ways you can break this down. It's manifold. You know, you can apply it, you know, to the ancient Assyrian Empire, and also we know the Esau Edom, he's the modern day Assyrian, but it's some key points in the scripture where you know it's not talking about the Assyrian. Basically, it's going into Adam. Yep. All right. Yep. So we're gonna get that. All right, this is Ezekiel chapter 31 and verse 3. Behold, the Assyrian was a cedar in Lebanon, with fair branches and with a shadowing shroud and with an high stature. And its top was among the thick boughs. The waters made him great. The deep set him up on high, with her rivers running round about his plants, and set out her little rivers unto all the trees of the field. So this is an empire. Adam had a system. Yep. He had a world system. Before Egypt, before Babylon, Adam had a system. Now it says, or it even tells you a Revelation, the 22nd chapter, it speaks about that river, the pure river of water of life. The law, statutes, and commandments flowing from Jerusalem, man. Yep. You know? Now it says,
going back to King Solomon, you know, the wisdom, because his spirit flooded the earth.
Wow.
The prelude was Adam, man.
Damn, man. Now it says, therefore his height was exalted above all the trees of the field.
Hey, going back to those, what do they call in that passage? Those Middle Eastern rulers, you know, because their height goes back to stature.
Yeah.
You know, the status. So we was elevated as the sons of God back then, man. You know, those giants,
man, above all the trees of the field. And this proved the trees in the garden, they weren't literal trees. Nope. It was the other nations.
And keep in mind, it was allegorical.
Yep.
Veiled language, you know.
Therefore, his height was exalted above all the trees of the field, and his boughs were multiplied, and his branches became long because of the multitude of waters.
Their wisdom.
Yep.
You know, breath of life.
When he shot forth, and all the fowls of heaven made their nests in his boughs, and under his branches did all the beasts of the field bring forth their young. Yep. And under his shadow dwell all great nations.
Hey, under his shadow. And it says all the beasts of the field bring forth their young. And it goes back to really goes back to Isaiah 60. It's like they're paying tribute. Like, you know, like in the kingdom, they're gonna pay tribute, man. You know? Basically they're playing obeisance, or homage to Adam, man, or to the sons of God back then, you know,
man. And under his shadow dwelt all great nations.
And because that goes to show you that he came back as King Solomon, but that happened as a prelude during the time of Adam. All right, that's why it says in Ezekiel, "I will restore it in the beginning."
Yep.
You know, and that's why. It's a lot, bro.
Now, but in Ezekiel, it even says, what's that? Ezekiel 36. The land that was desolate shall become like the Garden of Eden.
God.
Thus was he fair in his greatness, in the length of his branches, for his root was by great waters.
And that goes to show you, man, that was a house shot.
Yep.
You know, out there wisdom. All right.
This the points for you, bro. The cedars in the garden of the Most High could not hide him.
Yep.
The fir trees were not like his boughs.
Yep.
So Adam couldn't blend in among the, the other nations, you know. And the chestnut trees were not like his branches, nor any tree in the garden of the Most High was like unto him in his beauty.
Yep.
I have made him fair by the multitude of his branches, so that all the trees of Eden that were in the garden of the Most High envied him.
Yep. Hey, that's why that serpent couldn't take Adam down through force. He gave him a philosophy that took him out of his power, man.
Had to do it through deceit.
Do it through deceit, man. And you said more of that.
I mean, that's pretty much the point.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna get the description Second Ezra 7, just to submit everything. Second Ezra 7:46. All right. I answered then and said, "This is my first and last saying, that it had been better not to have given the earth unto Adam." So the Most High gave the earth unto Adam during the time of the garden in the beginning, or else when it was given him to have restrained him from sinning. All right. But that's pretty much the point. Let's put that in the context of Ezekiel. Adam was in rulership.
He was a king.
He was a king. And the descendants of Adam, which was the sons of Seth, all right, there was heirs under Adam. They were kings also. That's why I said the sons of God came into the daughters of men. Now, what's another example of that? Speaking of Solomon, did not King Solomon go into the sons of the daughters of the sons of men?
He did the same thing.
He did the same thing. He bowed his loins to them. All right. Basically, he allowed them to worship, bring their temples into his kingdom, man. But like father, like son, he came back and did it again. All right. They're gonna show you that we was always into them heathen women, them exotic women, like the elder said on the comment board. But it happened first, all right, during the time of Adam, all right, the sons of Adam, when they're messing with those women who were the daughters of the sons of men.
Yeah, because you can't get around this, man.
Yeah, going back, you finna read that again?
Yeah, I was gonna read it again.
All right.
All right. A better interpretation now says who were the sons of God, you know, going into Genesis 6:2. A better interpretation may be that they were human rulers. Speaking about the sons of God.
Yep. Started with Adam.
Yep.
In this superpower. All right.
Who emerged as heads of city-states in the ancient Middle East.
The garden.
Yep.
Palestine.
And flaunted their power by having large harems.
Yep. And it just so happens that King Solomon had 1,000 wives. And then he had like, was it 700 concubines or something like that?
Yeah, we can go into it. I mean, I pull it up in First Kings.
Yep. But it said having large harems. So they're going back to Genesis, the 6th chapter. The sons of God went into the daughters of men, but the Most High left those clues, so to speak, because King Solomon turned around and did it again. He went heavily into the daughters of the sons of men. All right.
All right. This is First Kings chapter 11, verse 1. But King Solomon loved many strange women.
Yep.
Together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites.
A son of God going into the daughter of men. All right. And it's heavy because we got them spirits. Moabites look good. Edomite women look good. I was talking to a Jake in the car. I was like, yeah, you know, I like dark women, but it's something about those they got a feminine spirit, man. Those foreign women.
Even back in the world, going years, you know, back years ago, Jay would say they want a black and Asian woman or Asian woman.
Yep.
You know,
and they got nothing to do with self-hate because we was in our kingdom doing that. All right.
Flaunting that power.
And
they just like what they like. You know, you a king, you know.
You're not supposed to wear the same shoes every day. Or, you know, and you wouldn't be a king if you didn't like diversity now. You know?
Women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites. They what's the ICPK?
I hate to quote this song, but you remember that song from T.I.? It came out years ago. It was like, hey, let's get away, let's get a room. But he was like, light-skinned Asians, Jamaicans, and white women. Indians, Italians, Haitians, and Puerto Ricans, they be itching for a chance. And he was saying something like that, but he named all these different nationalities.
That's Spirit of Jake.
Yeah, you know?
Women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites.
Yep. So he had those Canaanite women.
Mm-hmm.
He had them all, man.
Of the nations concerning whom which Yahweh said unto the children of Israel, you should not go into them, neither shall they come in unto you. But why? Why? For surely they will turn away your heart after their gods.
Yep.
Solomon clave unto these in love. See, that was the problem. It wasn't a problem with him dealing with those foreign women. You know, it was, you know, the idolatry that came with it. And he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines.
Okay, I stand corrected. It was the reverse. He had 700 wives and 300 concubines. But those 300 concubines, that would have been classified as a harem.
That's a harem.
That's a harem. You know, going back to that passage where it says that the sons of God were those ancient rulers. You know, yep. It says a better interpretation may be that they were human rulers who emerged as heads of city-states in the ancient Middle East and flaunted their power by having large harems. And 300 women, that's a large harem.
Large harem.
That's the son of God, you know.
That's something we also wanted to get was speaking on this god of Egypt called Heket. Well, this goddess, basically it's a goddess, you know, because see, a lot of these people that believe in Egyptology, they will use it to say that creation began with Egypt. But see, you same niggas that want to talk that talk, you don't walk that walk, man. You don't believe in the gods of Egypt. You know, you just infatuated with a certain philosophy, man.
And it has a certain energy to it.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, Jake gone, man. All right, but this is Heket. Now it says Heket or Heket. Heket was a goddess of childbirth and fertility in ancient Egypt. She was depicted as a frog. Now remember, the Lord brought that plague of frogs upon Egypt. There was a shot at this goddess. Or a woman with the head of a frog. The meaning of her name is not certain, but possibly derived from the word Hekah, meaning ruler or scepter. Frogs symbolize fruitfulness and new life. And it is thought that her priestesses were trained midwives. Now I'm going to keep reading, get to the point. Now it says, according to one tradition, Heket was the wife of Num, the creator god of Abu, elephantine. He created each person on his potter's wheel. You see how they want to mimic what the Most High did?
Yeah, because the Most High is referred to a potter in Isaiah.
And he formed us from the dust of the ground, from the earth.
Yep. Well, because it says in Job, we dwell in houses of clay.
Houses of clay. Now it says, the creator god of, well, I'm going to read it again. According to one tradition, Heket was the wife of Num, the creator god of Abu. He created each person on his potter's wheel, and she breathed life into them before they were placed in their mother's womb. So taken from what the Lord did with Adam, you know, and like you broke down, showing you the other nations don't got it. Even when it says how the Lord gave Adam the breath of life, that wasn't talking about actually making them, you know, an animated person or bringing him to life. He was already living, but he gave him the laws, statutes, and commandments. But it shows you that Egypt came later, man. You know,
y'all late.
Yeah, y'all late, man.
Y'all late, man.
You know what I'm saying?
We've been here, man. Because this is our earth.
It's our earth.
Did it not say he made the world for Israel's sake?
For our sake.
What do you think that meant? The beginning of that was during the time of Adam.
Yep.
The sons of God. That was our earth. That's why we emerged as city rulers. That was making the world for our sakes. And that's why Deuteronomy 28, it said how the woman wouldn't set her foot upon the ground for delicateness. I think there was an apostle breaking it down. They had men carrying them. Israelite women had men carrying. Why was that? Because that was our earth back then, man. All right.
Yeah, to show something else, you know, because we slightly made mention, Salah. We had made mention of how, you know, you read in Genesis, the first chapter, it speaks about the you know, the creation story. Genesis, the first chapter, covers it. But see, what the heathen did was basically, you know, copy what the Heavenly Father already had set up, and they put their own gods on it. Yeah. You know?
Like you'll make a song, you'll be a Jake, make a song, and it'll go.
Okay, we good. Now you brothers let us know if you can hear us. You know if we good. Yeah, that is why I meant to copy and paste here. Okay. Hey, you brothers can hear us? Yeah, let us know. Made a mistake and exited the stream. Should be good, Lord will though. Okay, come.
The water.
All right, okay, now I gotta share the screen all over again. It's all good. All right. It should be I believe it's this one. Lord will. Yep, there we go. Yeah, so dealing with Egypt, you know, they pretty much copied the Lord's creation story, but then, you know, they put some bugged out, you know, ideas inside of it, you know, make it seem like one of their gods is a dome. You know, this also goes back to that flat earth bullshit, man. You know, but I'm just read the bottom of this, and this is from the book Cultural Backgrounds. show it real quick. And we're gonna get ready to close this out because we, you know, through the spirit, basically show how the Bible came first, you know. Let's show the cover of the book. Cultural Background Study Bible. It's some good info, but then also it has a lot of, you know, a lot of bones in it too. Okay, but to pull this back up, now it says, you know, at the bottom of this photograph, in Egyptian iconography, the sky is represented by the goddess Nut, whose body arched over the land. You know, but see, the point is, creation don't go back to Egypt, man. It's just that, like the elder was saying earlier, they were in power. So of course, you're gonna push your narrative.
Well, that's what Esau did.
Yep.
He pushed the narrative that it was a big explosion.
Yep.
You know, but prior to that, we already had it documented that the world was created. It was created. All right, but when Esau came in power, he created a new narrative as to how everything came to be. And they started off as cavemen, and they became intelligent. Yep. You know, and then you watch his movies, the biblical movies. Everybody with Edomites, all the nations with Edomites. That's his narrative. But Egypt did the same thing when they were in power, man. You know,
and it's not true.
It's not true. And that's the truth.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, just to show something else, because now we show the true definition or the true meaning of the sons of God in Genesis 6:2. We show what that was really about. Now, to show how the other nations basically copy off of what we got going on. All right, we're gonna show something real quick. Okay. That's gonna be it for me, Zaquan. Unless you got something else.
No, that'll be it for me too.
Oh, they don't want to give it to me. Damn. Let's see. See if I can do it again. Yeah, it don't want to show it. So your file could not be accessed. Well, yeah, it's all good. Yeah. Well, you know, yeah. You know, I'll read it from this book, you know, and I mean, that'll be it. You can look it up yourself. Basically, it speaks about the epic of Gilgamesh, which is some BS, man. You know, it's a bullshit philosophy. This bullshit letter, basically from Babylon, you know. But see, people will use this to say that, you know, Babylon came first, Samaria came first. I'm gonna just read it, man. I'm gonna make it quick. I'm not gonna read all of it, you know. But you know, as we showed, Egypt, they got their own creation story, you know, which is off. All right, we showed that. So that's a cut on Egypt, because we mentioned Genesis chapter 1. All right. Now, when you go to this book, you go to Genesis chapter 6. They're speaking about the Nephilim. All right. When you read in verse 4. Now, for verse 4, they don't say sons of God. They just simply say Nephilim. But you got to understand the meaning of words. Now it says, all right, it's at the bottom, Nephilim. They occur only here and in Numbers 13 and 33. But see, what they mix up is that, you know, like the elder was saying, you have allegorical talk. Mm-hmm. The sons of God were labeled as giants, great men or renowned men, basically popular. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But Esau can't make the separation between that and actual giants, actual men of high stature. All right, but it says the text presents them not as the offspring of the union, but as contemporaries. The fact that they are also around after the flood indicates that the label is not ethnic. Now, see, Esau talking about those damn Hamites. Mm-hmm. You know, you had the Amorites. You know, you had the Philistines. These were actual giants. Mm-hmm. All right, but now it says analysis of the meaning of the designation has been unsuccessful in identifying this group. The latter part of the verse indicates that they are heroic figures. Mm-hmm. Heroic figures, perhaps of the sort exemplified, no, it says by Gilgamesh. See, we don't need that book. No. All right, but they are heroic figures. No. going to, like, you know, like you're saying, you know, that the sons of God.
Yep.
All right. But yeah, I mean, that's it, bro. You know.
Right. You know, I just want to get the break down the etymology of the word allegory, because the reason why this goes over so many people's head, because it's in the allegory form, which we learned this word from the apostles. Allegory, dictionary.com, a story, poem, or picture that can be interpreted to reveal a hidden thing, typically a moral or political one. It said is broken down into two elements: allos, which means other, and agoria, which means speaking. So you're speaking like in a fable-like manner because you put in animal personalities in there, but they represent something.
That shows the Lord, he meant for this book to trip people up.
Yep.
He meant for it to be a stumbling block, because it's no coincidence. And, you know, you, me, and Ayash talked about it. When you read in Genesis, you know, the second chapter and the third chapter, it doesn't go into exclusive detail, you know, dealing with Adam, dealing with Eve, dealing with the serpent. But then we can go into all these other books in the Bible that basically help explain what happened in Genesis. Which, like the elder said, this shows you that the Bible predates Egypt and Babylon, man. You know, and I'm gonna finish out. I'm gonna get this precept by this brother.
Okay.
You know, and brother making a good point. If you believe in the Big Bang Theory, you're stupid.
We have an explosion created a perfectly round object, and then every existing thing on Earth,
man,
it complements the other thing.
Yep.
Because the scripture says all things have their usage. So you can look up any organism, a microorganism on the planet Earth, and it has a use or a function on the planet Earth. How can an explosion create something that's so sophisticated like that?
Perfect order.
Perfect order.
And
perfect order.
And every creature is so complex.
Right.
You know? Man, bro.
And it creates perfect balance on the planet Earth, man.
They took a grand intelligence to make this, man.
Yep.
You know? All right, I'm gonna get this by the brother Bakayar Amath 7, Deuteronomy 4 and 8. And what nation is there so great that have statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law, which I set before you this day?
Yep. So that's what made us the sons of God back then.
Yep.
And now that those laws are going to dominate the planet Earth, and we're going to conquer and subdue all the nations, and they're going to be forced to go back to their ancient way, man.
That's right, bro.
All right, but did you have anything? All right, with that, we hope you brothers and sisters were edified. Once again, we want to give our honor and glory to
Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushua, by Hashem, Kakodash.
Double honors once again to our apostles of great millstone rule well. Peace and blessings to the house of David the elect. Abba Baal.
Abba Baal.
Come Yashalom.
Come Yashalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.